We made a nice new water barrel, and this is the thanks I get. The pigs knocked this water barrel over and it messed up this nipple right here. The nipple's fine, it's the hole that's messed up. Was it you? You're the ornery one. But I happen to have just what we need. I think we're good. We'll just give that some time to set up, and I think it's fixed. Most of y'all know we started a remodeling project on the house 2 or 3 months ago at this point, and I've had people ask me, how's the remodel going? Looking forward to seeing the remodel. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it too. Let's see what's going on. Not much. So we have had a lot of stuff going on here recently. We took a little break to help a friend with his barn build. We took a vacation and we just got back last week. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of neglect going on at this house. But now it's time to get back on it.
Why is there such a lot of trash down here?
But I'm the kind of person that likes to see progress. It makes me a little more motivated to do things. So here's what I want to do. I want to start on the house, but I want to do it from the outside in. Because there's all kinds of stuff around the house, like this roofing tin, or this rusted out grill, or the leftovers from electrical work that I had done, and all this underbrush, firewood that never got cut, and fallen down trees. The whole thing from outside to inside is basically a train wreck. So let's get started with the outside of the house so I can see some progress, and then we'll get back to the inside. The house looks bad, but the shed looks great. Where are my priorities at? Check out these poison ivy vines. Those are monsters. Comparison to my finger there. Gonna stay away from that. Now where have you been? Where have you been? You been chasing rabbits? You been chasing rabbits? Okay. Oh, this is horrible. This is really bad. Oh my gosh, you are kidding me. I think I just knocked a hole in my transmission. All right guys, so it's bad, but it's not quite as bad as I thought it was. So this line right here that goes to the hydraulic filter, you can see right there, I managed to catch some of it, but it was basically just a hemorrhage. So this, I believe this was a dead dogwood tree. I just pushed over and it uprooted it, and one of those roots hung on that line right there and yanked it right out. Oh, sorry. Right out of the transmission. So that's kind of major, I guess. Yikes. Well, that was not the end of today that I was looking for. I did get a fair amount of stuff done out here, but I'm pretty much at a standstill on the tractor at least. So I called the dealership, and it's a $65 part, which actually really surprised me. I expected that part to be a lot more expensive. But what's really bizarre, it doesn't come with the O-rings that go on the end. Isn't that strange that it doesn't come with the O-rings that are necessary? Those are like $4 a piece extra. I don't know. The worst part is going to be replacing the hydraulic fluid. There is other stuff that I can do today. I really needed that tractor to haul the water for a pig waller out there, but I'm gonna have to do it with buckets. But we're gonna restart on around the house stuff tomorrow. The part will be here Wednesday. I probably won't get it installed till Thursday. Today's Monday, so we'll kick that can down the road. This is for their waller, and I usually haul water to the pigs in the Kubota bucket, but it's out of service right now, and it's pretty hot today. They probably should have had this water earlier. Are you chewing on a rock? She's chewing on a rock. They've got two of these little huts right here, and the temperature inside these huts is a whole lot better than outside, and they've got it kind of dug out in here to get to the cool ground. But this one's right here in the sun, and that one over there is more so in the shade. But still, they don't tolerate heat very well. That's Sue right there. That's our potential breeder, and she seems to tolerate heat less well than the rest of them, and I think it must be because she's got a lot more fat on her, it seems. She's kind of a heavier pig, and these are a little bit leaner, so I figure that's why she doesn't tolerate it quite as well. You feel better, Sue? You feel better? Check on our JB weld patch from this morning. It's pretty hard. I think it would probably be usable, but I don't have a great way to get water out here right now, so I'm just gonna let it sit. Well, I think I've done enough damage for today. Tomorrow morning we'll grab some of these blocks right here and crawl up under the house. A lot of y'all will remember that I need added support up under the house because we're gonna have some LVL beams spanning the length of the living room, and that's gonna be basically supporting the entire weight of the second story in the house, transferred into the walls and down into those concrete blocks to the ground. So I believe I've got one more to do, plus a shim to put in another one, and yeah, that'll free us to start working on the inside of the house again. All right, here we go. If y'all can probably tell, I don't have a lot of space to work with here, but this right here is the column that I just shimmed up in the top, And we're about to put another one right over here in this area, and we'll have to build up a new one with these new blocks and cap blocks right here. Well, that's probably about my least favorite job to have to do, but it's done. And of course, y'all saw that it's kind of just in the dirt. I dug it out a little bit there, but it's still kind of in the dirt, not a concrete pillar or whatever up under it. But that's a really well supported area of the house right there. There's 3 columns now in one very small spot right up under that doorway where those saddles in the wall are going to be, transferring that weight. And if it settles to any degree, I can always jack it back up and shim it. It should be okay.
I knew there was to be lots of tractors here.
I like that backhoe.
Now, why have they not cleaned the backhoe yet?
It's called character. What do you think? It's about your size, isn't it?
It's about my size.
All right, guys, here we go. Today is Thursday. My part came in. Let's see if we can get the tractor going. First, let's get all of this hydraulic oil soaked leaves out from up under it. I think that y'all can see that pretty good. That's where the root hung on to this inlet pipe right here. This right here is the bracket that holds it onto the transmission. And my chore is, oh, it fits. My chore is to get that out. If I turn it the right direction, maybe. And you can see it's crimped in a spot where it's not allowing the bolt to come out just right. So I don't know how this is going to work. Oh, it's so close.
You're so close to what, Daddy?
To this bolt coming up. I got it up. Now that bolt's got to come out of there. Got it. Let's get a closer look at this part right here. You can see where it's crimped right there. That's where the root hung onto it, and it just yanked it. So there's obviously no fixing this at all. Here's the new part. You can see the damage there. That's kind of in the same exact position, and that's pretty significant damage. I mentioned earlier in the video that these new pieces don't come with O-rings, which is kind of disappointing, or really disappointing, I guess. Here's the O-rings. I did not get O-rings at the store this morning because my dad's got a pretty big selection of O-rings. Unfortunately, that selection did not include the exact one that I needed. These are kind of fat O-rings, and he just didn't have one, unfortunately. So my hope was that I could just take these off, inspect them, and use them, and this one would probably pass okay, but this one would not on the other side. When it got yanked, it got pinched pretty bad. So yeah, we'll go back to the store in the morning and hopefully finish up this project tomorrow. But it's really kind of interesting how this whole thing works. It's not threaded in, it's not bolted in any way into the transmission or into where it comes out of the filter right there. And the more that I thought about it, the more that I thought, you know what, that makes a lot of sense for this exact reason. I feel like they built this kind of as a sacrificial part, basically. If a root gets hung on it, all it does is destroy this. It comes out of the filter bracket or whatever right there, and it comes out of the transmission, and nothing major gets destroyed. Could you imagine the damage damage. If this had been threaded into the transmission and it got yanked like that, it would have been a lot more than the money that I'm in already on this project. So I guess I'm going to say that's an engineering win on Kubota's part, making this part sacrificial, but we'll get it back on this tomorrow. All right, guys, here we go. Now we've got the O-rings. They're both in place and seated. We're on day 5 of this ordeal now, so I'm hoping that we can get this finished up here in the next few minutes. Try to clean out these inlets here so that I don't have any dirt for the O-rings to mess with. Don't know if there's a special trick to getting this back on or what. That was one side. I wonder if something else is supposed to come off and move, because I don't really know how this could go in. The problem that I'm having here is I'm trying to put a rigid pipe into 2 rigid holes basically, and there's no wiggle room there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen all of this stuff up. Actually, it's mainly this filter bracket right here and one little tube, and see if I can get some wiggle room going on here, just so I can get that pipe in. Oh, my nose. All right, so now I've got this wiggling, so hopefully I've got a little room right here to work with. Oh, it's so close. There it went. Oh, something in my eye. All right, cool. Now the whole system takes over 10 gallons of fluid. I've got maybe a gallon in there now. I want to crawl under and check for obvious leaks first. That's where the pipe goes into the transmission, and it's looking good. And of course there's no fluid up here yet. So really that's the most obvious one that I wanted to check. Let's keep going. Yeah, this is hydraulic fluid. So I'm sure that y'all can't see this, but at the dealership, what I did was I got 1 5-gallon bucket of fluid and 2 2.5-gallon buckets of fluid. And the reason that we did that was because I was desperately hoping that I hadn't dumped out all of the fluid, because this fluid was the most expensive part of this whole repair process, and it's starting to look like I'm going to be able to save a 2.5-gallon jug of fluid, which is going to amount to about $60 saved. He's going to allow me to take it back as long as it's still sealed, so that's really good. All right, we're between the lines, so I'm going to be able to save about $60 on this whole thing. For now, I'm going to get the tractor out of here and put it on level ground, then we'll get a better reading on how much it needs. I let it run for a little bit to get all the fluid through the system and to fill in the places that it drained out of, kind of like that pipe right there. Let's check it and see how far it's down now. I know y'all can't see that, but it's between the lines just barely. Let's get it on some level ground and see what it's really like. Let's get this tree out of the way. This is the cause of all of my troubles right here. It needs maybe another quart and that's it. Maybe less. Well guys, that is going to do it for this video. I've had just about all the excitement that I can stand for this one video. The good news is I was able to save out a 2.5 gallon jug of this fluid, which amounts to about a $60 savings. It's incredible how much this fluid costs. The pipe that I had to replace was only about $64 or so. This bucket of fluid was $112, and a box of 2.5 gallon jugs was $123. So I'm sure that there are people who are probably going to say you could have just gone and gotten some universal hydraulic fluid. I really didn't want to do that. I'm sure that there are some fluids that would work okay, but I think this tractor's still under warranty for one thing. And another thing is it's a nice tractor. It was a pretty big investment, and I just don't want to put a $30 bucket of hydraulic fluid from Tractor Supply in this thing. Maybe that sounds snobby, I don't know, but it was a big investment. I want to keep it right. A little bit of progress on the house, which was great. Hopefully we'll have some more videos on that. The next step is to start putting saddles in those walls so we can put the beam across the living room, and then we'll literally have to cut the house in half to get that beam and everything up in there once the saddles are in. So
how are we to cut the house in half?
How are we going to cut the house in half?
Yeah.
One joist at a time, I guess, buddy. It won't fall down. It'll be okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so yeah, good progress on the house. We're gonna get there one step at a time. Good news is I got a new diesel can for diesel fuel. That's cool. And my tractor's got some new fluid in it. I talked to the dealer about changing the filters on the machine, the hydraulic oil filters as well. And I've already done it once. I did it at 140 hours, and he said since I did it then, it's probably not necessary to do it again, because he said those filters are really expensive too. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. I'm just rambling at this point. I'll see y'all on the next one. Thank y'all for sticking around, and I'll see y'all next time.